Well, hello, and welcome to the Law of Sines worksheet. This is a Kuta software worksheet tutorial by Mr. West. Now, the first thing we need to talk about is what is the Law of Sines. The Law of Sines is that we have equal proportions, equal relationships going on between the sine of A over A, the sine of B over B, and the sine of C over C. Out of context, that doesn't make a ton of sense, but if we look at it through the lens of this triangle here, ABC, we need to keep in mind that A is an angle. So A is the angle, the big A, and then the opposite side is its counterpart. So that's little a. So that goes for all these angles. So C is the big angle, is the angle, and little c is the opposite side. And then we have B, the angle. I forgot to write this in. And B is its opposite side, little b. Okay, so that's just something to keep in mind. That's how we label correctly, because that's an important part. If it's not labeled already, we need to make sure, step one, that the triangle is labeled. So let's go ahead and break this down. I already said what step one is. Step one is label, if it's not already done so. Okay, we're going to talk about step two in just a second, but we need to look at AC, or this number one problem, find AC. AC is this side right here. So we need to figure out, okay, AC, that's a little too thick. AC is what side? Well, we have the angles measured, A, so that would make this little a. Then we have B, that would make this little b, and then C, and that would make this little c. So 24 would be equal to little c. A and B do not have values yet. And we're trying to find AC, which is B. That's the guy we're trying to find. All right. So step two is we are looking for, we're looking to set up proportion with two angle / side pairs. What does that mean? Well, we need to pick values that we know. First, we need one of the pairs has to be a given angle and its given opposite side. Okay, so if we're looking here, we know angle B, but we don't know its opposite side clearly. That's what we're looking for. We know angle A, but guess what? We don't know its opposite side, so we can't use that as one of our first pairs. We know, okay, so we don't know angle C, but we do know its opposite side. Now, can we find angle C? Yes. If you know two values, two angle values, we can subtract from 180 to find out what angle C is. So we're going to type 180 minus 118 minus 22, and that should give us 40. So that's 40. So we know that we have a given angle and its opposite side. That's going to be one of our pairs. So one of our pairs has to have a given angle and an opposite side. So I don't know how to indicate that. How can I say that? Set up proportion with two angle side pairs, and maybe I can put in parentheses, one pair has to have both given. Has to have both. This is a B. Both given. Okay, so we have that. So let's go ahead and write that. We have here, I'm going to actually circle that in blue just so it's a little bit easier to differentiate. So we have this angle pair. So we're going to use sine C over opposite side C, and we're going to set that equal to, now usually you set it equal to the thing that you want. So here we want the side of B, right? So we want sine of B over B. Now we have to have three of these things. So we have sine of C, we know angle C, we know, let me use my, hold on. We know C. We know what that is. It's 40 degrees. We know little c, that's 24. We know b, that's 22. But now we are looking for little b. So we can only have one unknown when we have these proportions. So what do I do from here? Well, I'm going to plug in my values. So I have, let me go ahead and I'm going to just copy and paste this. Copy, paste, make it easier for myself. And we're going to plug in what we know. So we know that all those three. We know that this is 40, sine of 40. We know this is 24. We know this is 22. and now we can cross multiply to solve for b. So this is step 3, cross multiply and solve for unknown. And I leave it as unknown, not aside, because you can do the same thing with angles. Okay, when we cross multiply, we get 24 times sine 22 times sine 40 equals sine 40 times b. And this is the guy we want. So we have to divide both sides by sine 40. Divide by sine 40. All right, that cancels that out, and we are left with b on the right side. What is it equal to? This is where I just plug this into my calculator, as is. It depends on your calculator. You might have to do it in 2 or 3 steps. If you have a more basic scientific calculator. If you have a graphing calculator, this is a super easy process. Scientific calculator, take your time, break it down into steps like sine of 22 times 24, get that answer, hit enter, and then divide it by sine of 40. Okay, but in graphing calculator like mine, I'm just going to type it as is. So 24 times sine 22 and divide that by sine of 40. So I get B. I get 13.98, but I'm looking to round to what? Round your answers to the nearest tenth. That means this guy rounds up to the next level. That means he rounds this guy up to next. So that's going to be, that's not even a number. 14.0 equals B. So I have my answer. I found B. Okay, let's go ahead and do another one. Let's see if we'll do it a little bit quicker this time. Here's one. We'll go to do this one. So we're looking for AB, and we're going to call it C because we see here, no pun intended, we see here that we have angle C is 63. So we're looking for sine C over C because we're looking for side C. This is the guy we're looking for. So we have to not have another given pair. In this case, we see that we're given only side A, so its angle, and its angle is going to be 180 minus 101, minus these angles right here. 180 minus those two angles, minus 63, and I get 16. So I get sine A over A. I know this is 16, so now I'm going to plug in. I'm going to change this colors just so I can use all the same color. Sine of 63 over C, that's the guy we're looking for. We only have one unknown. Then we have sine of A, sine 16 over 9. Okay, cross multiply from here. Solve for C. So we have 9 times sine 63 equals sine 16 times C. Again, C is the guy we're looking for, so we're going to divide both sides by sine 16 to get it by itself. And this is my calculator time. Time to shine for the calculator, times sine of 63. Make sure you're in degree mode. That's important. If you're in degree mode, or not in degree mode, you're going to get way different answers than I am. Once I divide this out, I get C equals 29.09. So rounded to the nearest tenth is 29.1, and that is equal to C. So C equals 29.1. Okay, let's do one where we find angles now. Very similar process. You're actually going to follow the same process. It's just when you solve, it's a little different. So as you can see here, now we only have one angle, so we can't find the other two unless we use the law of sines. Now, what angle we're trying to find? We're trying to find C. So this is definitely going to be one of our pairs. Anytime you're looking for something, that has to be one of your pairs. Now we have to pick the other givens. There has to be something that's given, and here's our givens here. So we're going to use sine of 88 over 26, the sine of A over A, and this is going to be equal to sine of C. We don't know what that is, and we know it's over 21. That's equal to C. This is equal to A. We don't use B because, number one, we're not looking for it, and number two, because we don't have a given both the angle and the side. Cross multiply from here. We get sine 88 times 21 equals 26 times sine C. And we're looking for C. We only had one unknown here, that was C. We only have one unknown. We're going to divide both sides by 26. Okay, and now it's calculator time. Well, actually, I wouldn't do calculator just yet, so then we have sine C. Okay, I'm going to give it some space. You'll see why in just a second. Equals sine 88. This one's just a little bit more writing, but it's about the same difficulty. Now, how do we get the C by itself? Right now it's being signed, so we have to do the opposite operation. This is inverse trig. Inverse sine undoes the sine. But if we do it to one side, we have to do it to both sides. So we're going to cross off. Where do I see it here? Let's go red. So I'm going to cross off. No, I'm going to go orange. Psych. I'm going to cross off this and this. They cancel each other out. I'm left with just C on the right side. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to type this all into my calculator. If you have one of those more basic ones, again, do step by step. I would do this first, those steps, then divide, and then do inverse sine of all that. Me, I'm pretty fortunate. I get to just type it in all at once, as long as I'm typing it in carefully. So I have inverse sine of sine 88 times 21 divided by 26. Make sure I put parentheses around that, and I get 53.8. What does it say? Round to the nearest tenth, right? So that's rounded to the nearest tenth. That is degrees. Now, here's something that we have to be mindful of. We have to make sure it's not an obtuse angle. Okay, so this law of sines works perfectly as we've just demonstrated it if it's not obtuse. So we know it's not obtuse just by kind of looking at it. It's not obtuse. Plus there's an 88 degrees, so the likelihood that it's obtuse is very small. But let me go ahead and show an example what happens when you do have an obtuse angle. Okay, so that one's not obtuse. That one's not obtuse. I'm trying to see what other ones are not has a obtuse angle. Measure C, that's not obtuse. I got an idea. Let's do find measure B. So I'm going to change. We'll do A, and then we're also going to find. Oh, B would not be obtuse though. Oh, this is 129. I get it. Okay, shoot. All right. Well, I'm on my search here, and I'm not seeing anything. Solve each triangle. Okay. Well, maybe we'll take that 70. Okay, measure of angle B equals 45. I really wish it was more clear. C equals, okay, here's perfect one, number 18. Okay, so this is what I want to do. So number 18, first we're going to draw this triangle. I'm a very visual person. I need to see the triangle drawn. Okay, so let me draw this. And I'm going to label it. I'm going to label it A, B. Oh, I didn't draw this very good. Okay, that's fine. The main thing is that we just have to have the right labels. So I know this is 13 degrees is C. We know the opposite side is 9. That's cool. We know this is 22 degrees. We don't know its opposite side. We have to solve for the triangle. When it says solve each triangle, that means find all the angles and side. All angles and sides. Okay, let's go back to this. Sorry for that hold up. I don't want to make this video too long, so this is my last problem. I know I'm going to do one more just because there's a problem down there that talks about area. Okay, so nah, I'm not going to do that. All right, so here we go. So we have, we're trying to find side of A. We're also trying to find angle B, and we're also trying to find side B. Okay, so we're trying to find these two measurements here, are actually three measurements. We're looking for angle B, we're looking for side A, and we're looking for side B. Now, what I'm going to do here first to show you how to do obtuse angles is to find angle B. So how do I find... Oh, I can't because I have to find that side first. Oh, that's such a bummer. Okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in reverse. So the first thing I want to do this worksheet purposely avoided obtuse angles, which is kind of annoying. So I'm going to go ahead and just do 180 minus 22 minus 13 to find this other angle. You can always do that. That's the easiest way to do it. So 180 minus 13 minus 22 gives me 145. So I know this is 145 degrees. I know it doesn't look like it, but just bear with me. Okay, the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up this proportion here. Okay, that's going to be 1. So sine of 145 over b. And this is going to be equal to my other guy. Let's go green, whatever. No, I'm going to go blue. Sine of 13 over 9. So I'm going to cross multiply just as I've been doing before. Okay, go ahead and try it on your own. I'm going to just do this quickly. 9 times sine 145 and divide by sine 13. So I get b equals 22.948. I'm going to leave it like that. I want it as many digits as possible. Okay, now let me work backwards. Imagine here that I didn't know angle B was 145, but now I know side B is actually 22.948. Here's what I'm going to show. I'm going to show we don't know this. Okay, we're looking for sine B. And then I do know this, so I'm going to write 22.948. We're going to cross multiply by like before. Sine 13 times, sine 13 times 22.948. Now I'm actually going to type in the whole thing, which was about 7 digits. Okay, so I get 5.16218 equals 9 times sine of b. Okay, now we're looking for the angle. This is if you're looking for obtuse angles. Maybe we should make this loud and clear at the top. Obtuse angles for sine. Law of sines. Okay, so obtuse angles. So now I need to divide both sides by 9. So I divide this by 9, and I get something. I get 0.573 ... equals sine of b. What do I have to do? I have to take the inverse of that. So I take the inverse of both sides. Inverse of this side. Okay, so now I'm going to take the inverse of that. Inverse of that. Okay, excellent. This is what I was hoping to get. Whoops, not that. So as I took the inverse of that, this is super important. If there's one time in the video you listen, it's this. B equals 35 degrees. Okay, so if B equals 35 degrees, that doesn't make any sense, because then we have 22 plus 35 plus 13. That doesn't equal. So here's the thing. If you know it's an obtuse angle, what do you have to do? Well, if it's obtuse, you have to, that 35 is clearly not obtuse. You have to do 180 minus 35. That's just one extra step that you have to do. So as we take this, we get 180 minus 35. Guess what we get? We got exactly what we got before. We get 145. So that's a way that you can find obtuse angles, is by subtracting from 180 once you're done with law of sines, because it doesn't make sense that it's 35, 22, and 13. Okay, so that's an important process. Now, if you wanted to find A, we could easily do that. Okay, but I'm not going to at this time, just because you guys already know how to do that. I really just wanted to concentrate on obtuse angles. Okay, this is a separate part right here. Maybe I'll make a separate video for this part. This is a little bit different. But if you guys have any questions or comments, let me know in the comment section below. Obviously, if it's a comment, that's why you leave a comment. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more on Wes Explains Best.